So if you're watching this video, you're probably wanting to learn how to stretch a canvas like this one right here. I'm going to show you the proper way of how to do it. Now, the supplies you'll need: a stapler, some scissors, a square, and of course, your stretcher bars and some canvases. Now, there's different types of stretcher bars you can buy. There's different thickness, which, you know, the reason being is when you stretch them, it tends to bend. The thicker they are, the less they bend. Now, the reason why you want a square is because you want to go ahead and make sure that all your stretcher bars are squares. Now, you do that to each of the sides because you make sure that it's 90 degrees. Once you guys have done that, you're going to go ahead and use your stapler and staple about 3 or 4 on each of the corners. That way it does not bend while you're stretching. Now, we have different types of canvases when you buy this. This is a medium textured. There's different textures, and primered. So you can buy unprimed, just depending on what type of art that you're trying to achieve is the type of canvas you get. Now let's go ahead and show you the rest. So we're simply going to roll out the canvas, grab your stretcher. Now, you don't want too much canvas showing, because towards the end when you go and you flap the edges, it's just not going to look as good. Now what you want to do is make sure you have, we're going to go ahead and cut 2 sides. So usually what I do, depending on the stretcher bar, there's like, I give about 4 fingers of width throughout the sides. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off. It's fairly simple. Cut it off right there. And same thing to this side right here. We're going to go ahead and cut the edge right now. So 4 fingers, about 4 fingers, that's all you need. And then we're going to go ahead and simply just tear away. It's a simple tear. All you do is, in a sense, it's kind of like pre-cut because of the canvas material. It just cuts in a straight line. And then there you go, you have your sheet. I'm going to go ahead and remove this segment right here. Which one? Didn't cut. Oh, right here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this segment right here because I don't really like this end right here. It won't look good in the end product, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it as tight as I can and tear it off. And there you have it. Now that you have your sheet, we're going to go ahead and place it with the white side down, the primer side, just because that's the side that we're going to paint on. Go ahead and apply your stretcher bar, and go ahead and we're going to go ahead and just flap it over, making sure that it's suited on all the sides. Grab your stapler, make sure it has some staples, would be a good idea. Grab some staplers, refill. So grab your stapler and just go ahead and staple. We're going to go ahead and staple this side right here. And we're going to go ahead and stretch it. Not too tight, but stretch it. Just, you're going to see like this wrinkle right here. We're going to go ahead and staple it. Now do the same thing to this side. Kind of stretch it a little bit there. Turn it around. Staple it, stretch it until you see no more wrinkles. Go ahead and staple it. Now what we're going to do next is I'm going to apply Stretch it pretty tight, not too tight though, because then it stretches and works your stretcher bar. And we're gonna give it about 2 staples right here. We're gonna go on the opposite side of what you stapled and do the same thing. A staple right here. Stretch, stretch, staple here. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the opposite side of the ones that we hadn't done. Go ahead and staple there. Staple here. I mean, it could be a little workout because you gotta make sure you stretch it right. Because if not, towards the end it's gonna be all warped. There you go. Now we're gonna go ahead and, since we've done all the sides, we're gonna go ahead and finish it off on the edges. There you go. Now at this point, I don't really necessarily follow the rule, just make sure you can go ahead and finish the staples and stretch it as you go. It should be stretched enough. Make sure you still want to keep stretching at the corners because it will get wobbly and loose towards the end. There you go. And you should have a quite sound canvas. Now for the next step. I'm breaking a sweat. We're gonna go ahead and this excess amount of canvas, we're gonna go ahead and chop it off. So go ahead and cut it off right here. And I'll explain why we're doing this. Go ahead and just take it out. Now you want to cut it about like just a good amount. You still want to leave some, because if not, it's going to cut off to your stretcher bar. Just go ahead and chop it off. See, something about like this. Enough, but not where it gets in the way. And see, if I go and feel right here, it's a little bit on the loose side. I'm gonna go ahead and stretch it up a little bit more. Just the corners, just so they're tight. Just make sure it's not too loose or too tight. You see, there's still a little bit too loose right here, so stretch, pull, and staple. The reason why we cut these is because we're gonna go ahead and grab this section right here, the upper section, flap it in. We want it as tight as possible. We want this side to be smooth. And then you're gonna go ahead and tuck it in, flap it down, and pull on it straight down. See, we want this complete flush area right here. It's gonna be a... Now, since we did the upper section right here, we're also gonna do the upper section on this side. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead and flush it in, fold downwards, and then pull. Make sure to have a flush. So look at this has a little bump. Push it inwards, flush it down, staple away. Now you do that to all the 4 corners. Now for the final touch, we're simply just gonna go ahead and grab some water, spray in the back. The reason doing that is because any parts where it's a little bit cracked by the canvas being bent, it's just going to stretch it out a little bit better. How to stretch a nice final product. That way when you're ready to show in galleries, you make sure you have your perfect stretch canvas. I'm also going to be doing an art battle this month, September 20th, and I'll be showing videos about that, maybe doing a live show on Instagram. So if you haven't already, check out my Instagram @MemosCanvas. Thanks. Thumbs up, comment below. Thanks for watching.